Hello everyone and welcome back. A few days ago I was reading about the progress of the Epstein case. For those of you who are not familiar, the Epstein case is about the criminal case of a wealthy and well-connected businessman, Jeffrey Epstein. Essentially, Mr. Epstein owned an island and he was very well connected to the upper echelon of society. He knew even royalty like Prince Albert of England, Donald Trump, of course, Bill Clinton, politicians, businessmen, you name it, very well connected. And eventually, he was tied to several serious accusations of sexual trafficking, child molestation, prostitution, all happening in his private island. To make matters worse, his clientele were these very influential people he was well connected with. Ultimately, Mr. Epstein took his own life, but up to now, the case remains open and the recent progress, at least for those who are discriminating, is quite dismal. It's quite disappointing. Essentially, what happened is the files are there in the US government with President Donald Trump. The files contain flight logs, the clientele of Mr. Epstein, but basically, the justice system, and of course, the politicians in the United States, most of them don't want to have the files released. And they're thinking of all sorts of legal loopholes so as not to release the files. And the recent happening was Donald Trump was even calling the files themselves to be tampered. He's saying that they're tampered files. They tampered by who? Tampered by Obama, as he said, and the previous administrations. So that's how unbelievably uh, and unfortunately legalistic the recent happenings on the Epstein case has been. And this news reminds me, and it reminds us of how modern post-capitalist society is actually run by a select few people. Our modern society is actually run by a select group of people. They have been called many names: oligarchs, the elites, But cringy as they may sound, because I'm sure you've heard them all already from influencers in film, social media. But it's true. If you think about it, it's true. The world population now is, I think, at least 5 billion people now. But the economic resources, the social, political machinations, these are run by only a very few people compared to the billions of inhabitants in the world. It's true that we are ruled over and run by just a few people. If you think about it, even your job, your 9 to 5 job, your career, you may like it or not, depends on you. But if you think about it, you are always working for somebody else. You got employed by somebody else, by someone higher than you, and essentially you are being productive, you are being efficient, even if you enjoy it, it's up to you, but you are being efficient in order to make the owners, the stockholders of the corporation, of that company, richer. You're making other people richer by your productivity, by your efficiency. And who are these people? These are the elites. These are the select few running our society. The thought sounds dismal. Others, perhaps the older generations, they couldn't care less because, as they say, that's the way things are and always has been. But I'm thankful that, if you notice, in recent years and decades, with each successive generation, there is greater and greater awareness of the so-called puppet masters, of the so-called elite. There is greater awareness. Obviously, we're still a long way to go from finding a solution or solutions, lengthy solutions to this issue. But everything, every social inequity, every social injustice, before it gets addressed, starts with awareness. And it's good that at least there is increasing awareness now that the 9 to 5 job, the American dream, the post-capitalist dream, may actually be fabricated. And they are fabricated not for us, unfortunately, not for the working class, but to nurture the select few. And at least there is greater awareness now that these select few people indeed exist. And with it comes the awareness that, ironically, though we are yet to do something about it, we, the working class, the people below, we outnumber them 100 times over. Again, we outnumber them 100 times, even 1,000 times over. They are just a few people compared to the sea of humanity they are exploiting, and they have always exploited. That's just our thought for today. Again, these are just my own thoughts. If you have your own thoughts, please feel free to share. Let's have an exchange of ideas in the channel. So I'll see you again in our next video. Thank you and take care.